Okay, finishing off Math 7 8-5 with example number 2 on basic probabilities. So here we are looking at a spinner. So that's another type of thing. They love asking spinner questions. So again, we're not playing the what if game. If the spinner lands on the line, you are spinning again. That doesn't count. That's a fluke. All right, so finding the probability of the following situations. So first thing I'm going to start with is counting the number of spaces. And I recommend being careful when you do this, marking up your diagram, even go so far as to take the extra 10 seconds to write down the numbers. So you know that every single one of these fractions, every single one of my probabilities, because it does not say decimal, so I'm assuming it's a fraction, every single one of these is going to have a denominator of 8, because that's the total number of spaces. All right, so let's go through here. Remember, this P of is just probability of spinning the spinner and getting red. 1, 2, 3, 3 red spaces out of my 8 total gets me my fraction of 3/8, and that's my probability. Boom! Up next, here we have another one, the probability of getting red or green. Remember that or, when in probability, tells us to add those together. So the 3 red plus the 2 green, 3 red plus 2 green gives me 5 out of 8. Now, up next, part C, I had so much fun tricking everybody with this. The probability of getting blue and yellow. If you're thinking it might be 3/8, you're wrong. And the key difference here is this word and, getting blue and yellow. And implies that both of those things are happening, whereas or is different because or is one or the other, but not both. And is both. And there is no way that I can spin this spinner and end up landing on blue and yellow at the same time. It's not going to happen. So this is actually 0 out of 8, and that's because of and. We cannot land on blue and yellow at the same time. And that's super important to understand. Just scooch this over. Okay, and last but not least, part D here, the probability of spinning the spinner and getting a color that has the letter E in it. Well, the letter E in it, we can be really extra fancy here. Blue, blue, red, green, yellow, red, green, red. There we go. All of them. So that would be 8 out of 8, which again would be 1 or 100%. Meaning that that's guaranteed to happen. That when I spin that spinner, I'm guaranteed to land on a color that has the letter E in it. Meaning that, well, not meaning, but going forward here, the combined probabilities of all possible outcomes will always be 1 or 100. And again, that just is like, if I'm spinning the spinner, I'm going to land on one of these colors, either red, blue, green, or yellow. It's going to happen. So review real quick. The probability of landing on a red space would be 3/8. Combined, telling us to add. It's a terrible plus sign. The probability of landing on a blue was 2 out of 8. Probability of landing on a green is another 2 out of 8. And the probability of landing on that yellow was 1 out of 8. Notice adding those all together, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gives me that 8/8, or the 1 or the 100%. Just further reiterating that the combined probabilities of all possible outcomes will always be 100% because one of those things is going to happen.